It was just an idea. There was a lot of, can we make this work? How do we make it work?
I think it really was an experiment for them.
This is a huge problem. If not us, who else is going to be doing it?
There is a market for this. There's a significant void that we can fill.
There's trillions of dollars of investment capital that is available.
There's an opportunity to drive scale collectively.
Innovations actually do happen in finance.
We're able to provide them a clear investment case. We're able to meet them where they are.
Yeah, we can do this.
We can really help be the conduit to drive capital.
I think we could say that there's proof of concept.
And we made it.
The process works. It's real. We can provide quantifiable impact.
I don't think they would have foreseen how much the market has really gravitated towards this.
Impact was ahead of the game and being an inspiration to the marketplace.
We prove to the industry that this is a viable method of putting capital to use.
I think we have built a lot of credibility, so the future for us is really unlimited.
I grew up loving this city and still think it's an amazing city. I walk to and from my office to BART every day to go home. You see really visual evidence of the impacts of a lack of affordable housing.
When I drive around with my 8-year-old, he's always asking, why is there nowhere for these people to live? They live in tents, they live in RVs. I'm proud to say that I live and pass by almost every day a property that we are financing. We are actively working to help support local communities where we live every single day.
It reminds you that the stuff that we're doing really makes a difference.
Impact Community Capital was well named by our owners 25 years ago.
I had foresight 25 years ago when the name Impact Investing really didn't come around for 10 more years.
It started with the first investment opportunity was to buy a portfolio of affordable housing loans, which was pretty natural for insurance companies. They're big commercial real estate investors.
Historically, if you look at the default rate for low-income housing tax credit development, it is extraordinarily low. That default rate compares very favorably to market rate multifamily debt equivalents. And that's something that makes us feel very confident that our investments are generally very strong.
I think we have very creative solutions, investment solutions for our clients that maximize their returns, but also really do good for the communities.
Really, there's no area in the U.S. where there isn't a need for affordable housing. And you'll see that if you look at the average worker in the U.S., they cannot afford a market rate 2-bedroom apartment.
The idea that low-income housing tax credit property are a good place to invest is known throughout the market. I think the challenge is taking that good investment and then structuring it in a way that makes it appropriate for institutional investors. And that's what we specialize in. That's what we do.
A couple of years into that, a really big innovation, in fact, kind of first big innovation occurred. The idea was to take advantage of tools in the capital markets and create a commercial mortgage-backed securitization that they could go out and sell to other institutional investors so they could do new loans and have greater and greater impact.
Anytime we recycle that capital, it's really a proof of concept that the process works.
And so today, from that start of focusing on making impact investments in California to now impact investments in 42 states, over $2 billion of investments, creating 42,000 units of affordable housing. And that was really the kickoff to having both an investment manager but an impact investment manager.
I had the privilege of visiting one of the developments that we financed in South Carolina with our investors and bank originator partner. And the citizens of the development allowed over a dozen strangers into their home so that we could see what we financed. And these people were so proud of their homes. They had this brand new development that they were just thrilled to live in, to share with us, strangers, and that really meant a lot to me.
Back in 2014, we did Impact's largest securitization. The securitization was rated, and we had to take the rating agencies out to see some of this collateral, some of this housing that we were financing. And it really pointed out the misperception that people have in affordable housing. I think they have this idea, these huge brick buildings with hundreds of units that were built, in the 70s, and that's not what we're building. These places were beautiful. They had they had play areas. There were stuff that you would drive by every day and have no idea that it was actually affordable housing. So you could see it in people's eyes, their thought process about what we were financing and ultimately the collateral for the assets that they were going to be investing in. If we go through a really up investment cycle where the economy is strong, jobs are strong, what tends to happen is rents are going up. So you need affordable housing. If we go through a down economic cycle where unemployment is up, we need affordable housing. And when people find affordable housing, they're sticky. Renters tend to stay, which means that you really produce stable income. So for investors, it's a really stable investment opportunity with very low risk of loss. For communities, it's having a stable population. It's having people that enjoy being in their communities. They're going to stay there. They're going to go to the local shops, the local restaurants, and that's where they're going to spend money.
What our reports show is that the stable housing leads to more stable opportunities for education, job opportunities.
I really love the fact that we are doing very sophisticated work for institutional clients, managing their money, having their trust to manage their assets, but also doing it in a way that's sustainable and good generally for communities around the country.
Really just use Impact Community Capital to invest and find their own investments for themselves for the past 20-some years. And then when I joined, they saw that there was an opportunity to open up the platform to other investors. And I think part of that is helping to drive scale collectively.
The only way we're going to begin to address these problems is with billions and billions of dollars invested in communities. Investors aren't going to do that by themselves. We have to take ownership in our own communities.
By bringing in more investors into this mission of creating scalable investments that help support underserved communities, we can really help create more strategies, bigger funds, and help drive that capital, be the conduit to drive capital.
We're developing a broad set of products to meet the needs of not just the community, which is exciting, right? We get to have more positive impact, but also in developing products that the institutional investors are really interested in.
That's really what we look forward to, is more products, more impacts, and providing impact in a different way, potentially.
It's really about how do we bring billions of dollars of solutions.
There are opportunities in the equity space for socioeconomic development, providing credit to small businesses, closely held businesses, and other potential funds. There are so many out there now.
So right now, predominantly our investors are life insurance companies. 6, right? I mean, that's been the bulk of who's invested with us. And there's a lot more just life insurance companies, right? So if we can even bring them into the fold, and then property and casualty insurance companies, and then beyond that, endowments, pension funds, high net worth individuals, family offices. I mean, there's trillions of dollars of investment capital. If you can drive that into solving problems or trying to solve problems like equity and inclusion, you're off to a good start.
In the first 25 years, we have really solidified like a foundation of our core skills, and now it's time for us to branch out, and nothing's off the table.
We've just scratched the surface. There's so many other types of places like the environment, right, where you can invest and make an impact. And so I think, yeah, our founders were pioneers in that role, and now it's our job just to carry it forward.